Hello everyone, I'm Tyler Edlin. Welcome to another episode of Brush Sauce Theater. In this episode, I'll be painting this, what I'm calling an Arcadian horror in the background, and I'll be talking about this user question from Matt Steven. He asks, what makes a good design, even a timeless design, and how do you choose a good thumbnail to build from? Alright, so a little background on the image, of course. This was a demo for some of my students earlier in the week, and now that it being Friday, and I want to put out a video, I needed something to put in the background, so I'm just putting on the last minute details, and yeah, there we kind of have it. But it was just for fun, and it was a demonstration. So anyway, on design, I do teach shameless plug, I do teach two of the design courses at the Computer Graphic Master Academy. So I've studied quite a bit of design in my past now. Design is a bit of it's subjective and it's not. Of course, we all have our personal preferences and everything like that. But on design, I do have some notes here I'll be referring to. I did take from my Magic Brush Sauce notebook. And my favorite definition of design, if we're defining what design is really, is a plan for arranging elements to accomplish a particular purpose. And that just goes to illustrate that design is the opposite of chance. Everything that goes into a design, or a good design anyway, should be planned out. So it's like, in a lot of cases, we're designing solutions to solve a particular problem. You could first start to come up with a design by defining what your problem is, what you want to resolve, what your goals visually or aesthetically you're looking for. And so that kind of involves a little bit of looking and questioning and doing your research and referencing. The more kind of parameters we put on something, the more creativity we can derive kind of from that. Whereas if someone gives you something, hey, design a car, right? For example, if you don't know what kind of car you have to design, how are you going to design it, based off your needs? It's just going to be a generic kind of car in a lot of cases, and it won't solve any kind of problem. Now, if you say, I wanted you to design an aggressive car, what type of car comes to mind now? Probably something fast, something more angular, something quick, like a race car, a Corvette, a Mustang, whatever comes to your mind, whatever you think of subjectively when you think of an aggressive car. But it's kind of that process of applying labels to what we need to design. We can make a stronger design from it. Now, if we added more labels to that now, I want to design a car that conveys a feeling of gracefulness, right? Maybe we can start to teeter away from some of the more sports-heavy ones and maybe something a little more elegant and smooth, maybe something like a Porsche. So with that simple statement, I want to design an aggressive car that conveys the feeling of gracefulness. We've narrowed down a lot of design parameters, and the design that we begin to draw, or maybe the 30 thumbnails of the cars that we're drawing from it, will be a lot more focused. And it's when we have this focus that our design is more clear. So if you ask me what makes a good design, it's something that is, in both my design classes, what I look for is two things, is its clarity and its purpose. If that's not very obvious, then I think the design is kind of poor. So I think once you have your goal and you can present your design in a very clear and concise way, and presentation, I think, is everything within the arts, whether it's a painting, an illustration, a fashion show. If our idea is basically only as good as, how do I say this? Our idea is only as good as we can sell it, right? If we can have the most talent, the best designs in the world, but if we can't market that design, if we can't sell it or pitch it, then there's no good in the design almost. You'd have to wait and by chance and be discovered and all that things. So marketing, of course, is a huge part of your design and goes into the process of what makes a good one as well. So on top of something being clear, I think making a good design is something that's engaging, fun, and of course marketable. Now, what makes a timeless design? That's a little bit harder to answer. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. I will do my best. I do have a few things. I think, you know, in terms of aesthetically, the aesthetics have to be strong. The technique has to be there. Whether it's something simple or something complex, whether you spend, you know, 2 hours designing something or 20 hours, as long as like whatever method and style you approach to your design, as long as it's kind of visually pleasing on the eye, I think that's very important. You know, some things are just visually appealing. Not everything in a design has to convey a certain kind of message. Look at the creature in the painting, you know, for example, like he has wings and he's kind of elongated because he's supposed to fly. But kind of like the second row of spikes in between the top fin and the wings, those are all for visual aesthetics. They don't really serve a purpose at all, except for to maybe make him look a little more threatening if he didn't have enough teeth. But you know, there's an example of that. So I guess, you know, one would be the aesthetics of it. Make something that looks kind of nice. The second thing, I guess, would be if you can do anything innovative. Innovative will always lead to something more timeless. Rather, you know, being a trend follower and falling into a design that comes off as trendy, like art. If you look at art, one piece of art from like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, you could probably arrange, with a little knowledge of the period, the time, of course, you could arrange when they were designed, because there were certain trends, particularly in illustration. I think illustration is probably the easiest example of that. But if you know, so if you're on the kind of like the top of the wave there, and you're setting the trends and not following them, that's an easier way, of course, to make something a little timeless. Think of somebody like Sparth, for example, with his sci-fi art. Really simple and aesthetically pleasing. It references multiple kind of periods of cultures. He's always using the new technology and techniques with Photoshop and whatever kind of software he's using to make just really strong, visually appealing images. And I think in the long run they will be kind of timeless. The third thing I'd like to talk about is a good design can be or something more timeless can be something that's familiar but not overly obvious. Look at the movie, Big Hero 6, for example. They took Tokyo from Japan, San Francisco from the US, and mashed them into one awesome, unique setting. Now they're both kind of familiar in terms of the the layouts and the aesthetics of them, but the fact that the idea that someone would just take two cities from opposing continents, throw them into one, that's not a lot of obvious choices. Like, I've never seen that been done before, so that kind of creates something really visually interesting, and I think the movie will hold up over time. Now, because it's nice that they were able to layer multiple facets of design. You take the geography, the layout, the landmarks, the building blocks of San Francisco, and you're just laying the Japanese aesthetics onto everything and weaving them into every part of it. Yes, I think that's going to make something super interesting and timeless. So the fourth thing would be, I think you have to be thorough to the last smallest detail. Everything is well thought out and down to the smallest things. Again, looking at Disney's Tangled movie now, that referenced a lot of history and culture. Like, it went back to their own movies, their own fairy tales. It took the shapes, the lyrical and elegant shapes, the bold shapes from Disney's which was it? Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, the Sleeping Beauty. And they combined that with the thickness and the blockiness of Pinocchio shapes, another one of their old movies. So they're pulling from their own kind of reference library and treasure trove of history to kind of develop new and fun and, of course, engaging and exciting things that will still be marketable to today's audiences. And so I think, having those, being able to do a lot of research and reference into small details, I think that can make something very strong. It means something comes off as very thought through and not like an afterthought. I guess the last thing, of course, I'd like to add to all this would be simplicity. I forgot who said it, but simplicity is the key to brilliance. First, of course, with our designs, we want to focus on the core kind of functionality of what it is or what the purpose is, and then just work out the communication. How can you communicate that design? and stripping and removing elements. I've talked a lot about that on this channel, down to something's kind of core, kind of basic bones. I think that'll always lead to a stronger design in the end. Something would be better than if it was kind of busy and cluttered and distracting, or words that kind of come to my head when I think of something that's not designed well. So if you want to work on your own definitions, of course, look at art and arrange things. Always ask yourself, what do you like about something versus what do you not like about something? What would make something better? Or, you know, if something's really obvious to you, like garish or muddy, or why don't you like something? And that could play into something, that could play into your own reasoning and thoughts on why you don't think something's a good design or not. But anyways, thank you for asking and submitting your question. If you guys want me to keep these up weekly, keep submitting questions and I'll try to cover them as regularly as I can. Thank you, and take care. Thank you for watching my video. If you found it helpful, please leave me a like. If you want to help me out, please share it with your friends. I'm also on Facebook, where I have a subscribe button where you can get newsletters and discount info. I'm also on Twitter, where I update and post images almost regularly. If you want a chance to mingle and meet other like-minded individuals such as yourself, join the Brush Sauce community. Free and open to anyone, of course, through the Google+. And finally, if you'd like to inquire about my mentorship program, head over to tyleredlinart.com, click on the mentorship tab, scroll through, read over some of the guidelines, and feel free to check out several of my testimonial videos on my YouTube channel itself.